I'm Bonnie Christian and this is the Evening Standard's front page. A leading scientist is warning that Britain must win the race to vaccinate those most vulnerable to COVID-19 to defuse the deadly threat of a third wave. Boris Johnson has braced the nation for the third wave sweeping France and other European countries to wash up on our shores. Professor Calum Semple of Liverpool University says another surge in cases could be significantly limited by getting people most at risk protected. Britain's world-leading vaccination program has already seen more than 28 million get a first dose and 2.2 million a second inoculation. This comes as the UK marks a year since lockdown with a National Day of Remembrance. Thousands of Londoners stood silently in memory of friends and loved ones lost in the pandemic. At midday, a minute's silence was held across the UK. Candles were lit and flowers lovingly placed in homes and at memorials after what Health Secretary Matt Hancock called probably the hardest year in a generation. This morning's weekly cabinet meeting by video was sombre, with Boris Johnson reflecting on what he called a very dark and difficult year for our country that had been faced with great spirit by the public. Parents have a greater respect for the work of teachers and stronger bonds with their children's schools after the pandemic caused unparalleled disruption to the education of a generation. It comes as figures show the number of people wanting to become teachers has rocketed since the pandemic started. Research from the National Foundation for Educational Research found applications to postgraduate teacher training courses in summer 2020 were 20% higher than the previous year. Nicola Sturgeon misled a Scottish Parliament committee an investigation into unlawful handling of harassment allegations against Alex Salmond has found. Members probing the Scottish Government's botched handling of harassment allegations against the former First Minister say they find it hard to believe that Ms Sturgeon had no knowledge of any concerns about inappropriate behaviour on the part of Mr Salmond prior to November 2017. The findings are separate from those of James Hamilton, who reported on Monday that there had been no breach of the ministerial code by the First Minister over her role in the saga. And finally, calls are growing for the owner of a dog that attacked a seal on the banks of the Thames to be prosecuted. The young common seal, which walkers in Barnes had nicknamed Freddie Mercury in honour of the late Queen singer, was bitten by the dog before being rescued by passers-by. Vets decided to put the seal down after he was found to have a fractured flipper and a dislocated joint and an extremely poor prognosis. For more on these stories, visit standard.co.uk.